2 minutes late.
Happy birthday to me. Today's a special day for a number of reasons, but I want to say thank you to President Trump. And here's why.
Now, JR, they hit JR very hard, I have to tell you. These are friends of mine. JR was a hero and is a hero, and they hit him very hard with false stuff that he wasn't a hero.
Candidate J.R. Majewski has misrepresented his military record.
And after the election, they found out he was.
J.R. Majewski gave Congresswoman Marcy Kaplan.
That bitch, man.
Political machine.
Majewski went on to lose the race, but he's recently won a battle against the U.S. Air Force. The 13 Action News I-Team has confirmed that the Air Force recently awarded him the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. How much do you think the military document issue played a role in the race?
It was significantly impactful. This is the reality of politics, and the American citizen should not have to be dissuaded from running for politics because of this.
And on behalf of our country, I'd like to apologize to J.R. Majewski because you were treated very unfairly. So, okay? You were treated very unfairly. But he is a hero, and everybody now knows it. Thank you, J.R., very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President, for all that you do. Well, happy Veterans Day.
Well, if you haven't figured it out yet.
Happy birthday.
Hi, everybody. If you haven't figured it out yet, I got Mr. J.R. Majewski with us today. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, J.R.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Sorry, my camera's a little bit wonky.
Nah, whatever. We look at, man, there's all technical difficulties happen all the time here. Happy birthday. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Another year older,
Yeah, aren't we all? It's like
I wish it was really like wine, but
right. Well, after like 21, I guess it's just like no fun celebrating birthdays anymore. There's no more milestones. Just like another year older, like you said, but another year wiser. That clip was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was hard to live through, but I guess we'll probably get into it, but it was tough. It was a tough time running for politics. Sorry, I'm fixing my camera here as we speak. But it's important to me to say thank you to the president because, when that happened, a lot of people, especially in the Republican Party, kind of washed their hands of me because they didn't want me around anyway, but the president stuck through me. That was after the election, after I'd actually lost. The president took the time out on multiple occasions to make sure that he acknowledged me publicly for whatever reason he decided to do what he did. So I'm always eternally grateful for that.
I think that President Trump is one of the people that if there's a wrong, he needs to right it, and he doesn't hold back. He doesn't let people tell him, hey, you can't say this, you can't say that. I think he just says whatever's on his mind.
Yeah, that is a fact. That is a fact.
I voted for him twice. I couldn't vote for him in 2016 because, like millions of other Americans, I was locked up in the penal system, in the prison system, because of Biden's crime bill of the 1990s. And that man has done more damage to American lives than I care to even get into, And if I had that opportunity to vote for him in 2015, I would have. But again, locked up under some bullcrap, but because of Trump with the First Step Act of 2018, do you remember when he signed that?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people do because it affected so many people in a positive manner, including myself. And after that First Step Act was signed, I was able to go through the lengthy, expensive process where I could expunge all of those felonies and become felony free, and was granted every right back that I had previously lost due to Joe Biden's crime bill. And he released more people from prison for nonviolent offenses, drug offenses mainly. And people still, I don't understand how hateful they can be towards the man. I owe him my undying loyalty because he gave me a second chance at life. And not many people know that.
Yeah, he's given a lot. I mean, he's done a lot for people, even whether it's been, whether he's done it actively or just he's just created good legislation or forced the Congress into passing good legislation that would help the everyday American. I mean, he's really looked out for everybody, and unfortunately, the left likes to slander him and say that he's only looking out for a certain class. But I think time and time again, he's shown who he really relates to, who he really is out to serve, and that's the everyday American, regardless of your status on the income tree, I guess you could, or ladder. So I think he's a great guy. I'm fortunate to have have met him and got to know him, and I'm anxious to see the next 3 years because he's starting off pretty well.
Yeah, he really is. It's been amazing. The border, the border, the border. I was just thinking about this today. Honduras was number 1 in the world for femicide, right? Number
Hmm.
1 in the world for femicide, meaning women, everyday women, had to fear for their lives because they were actually being taken out. And Joe Biden opens our border, and a ton of, their crime and the femicide in Honduras went drastically down there. Why? Because they were all here. They were
Right.
coming here. He was letting anybody willy nilly into our country. And it did so much damage, not only with criminals, violence, economically. People, American citizens needed the help. I don't want to hear not a word about the SNAP benefits when all these illegal immigrants, millions of them, were getting free food stamps by the thousands
Hmm.
of dollars per month, free rent, cash assistance on a credit card per month, it's staying up in luxurious hotels. I am so sick of them. I really am, because they're so hypocritical and they don't see. I think what you said is so true, is that they slandered him and they hate him so much. He could cure cancer, and
Yeah,
look at it, they'd hate him still.
yeah. If they just give him a chance, I mean, I've met a lot of people that have, um, I would say, didn't like Trump at first because of what they heard about him in the news, and then, found their way into liking him, particularly after what happened in Pennsylvania,
Mm,
and the news story after, right, in Butler, and how the media's transitioned a little bit, but not to a path of honesty. They're more in survival mode because they know if they don't have a little bit of honesty, that the American people are becoming more aware and more keen to find their own information. And I've seen a lot of people move towards maybe not fully supporting Trump, but understanding how his policies impact them and how beneficial it's been. And the more that's come out about the Biden presidency and what has happened with under Obama, with the transition, with Comey, the FBI, and Brennan, and all those folks. I mean, the American people that didn't like Trump, from what I'm seeing, a lot of them are realizing that they've been lied to, and
yeah. Hmm.
the more that happens, I think the more they'll listen to Trump and the more they'll see. I mean, it's pretty easy um, to just take a step back and not use your feelings, just listen to the facts and follow the facts. And I don't see how anyone with common sense can't realize that Trump's done a lot of selfless things for the country.
Right. Absolutely. I have to interrupt real quick. So, you guys, right now, it is Tuesday, November 11th at 11:11 a.m.
Mm.
Make a wish, everybody, because that very, very, very 11:11. It's 11:11 on 11:11. That's crazy. Love that. I'm not into that weird shit with astrology and numerology and stuff like that, but I think that's pretty cool.
It is
I think you're
cool.
right. Look at what JD Vance thought. JD Vance thought he was, and then he changed his mind. So,
Yes, some of his strongest allies
right.
have at some point. Pete Hegseth. I mean, almost everybody in his, not almost everybody, but a lot of people in his cabinet, they had um, derogatory thoughts about him at first, but a lot of it had to do with the narrative that was being spun about him. I mean, I'd grown up as a kid in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Everybody wanted to be like Donald Trump. I mean, they used to make rap songs about him. And now all of a sudden, he gets this bad rap only because he wanted to shake up the political establishment in Washington, D.C.
That's
I say
exactly what it was. The
I
deep state.
say, I say, fuck them. Give them what they deserve.
I do too. I do too. It's very telling when you said that, right? Because I grew up like that as well. And I remember it was every rapper's aspiration to be pictured with Donald Trump. That was
Right.
their claim to fame. And look at when he did the cameos in like movies and like Home Alone too.
Right.
You know, it's just I remember how none of this was a problem when he was on The Apprentice, The Celebrity Apprentice, The View, Oprah, and the second that he said, "I'm coming out as a Republican because I can't roll with what the Democrats are doing," that is when the knife went in the back. That is when the smear campaign began. The wrap up smear, Miss Nancy Pelosi's favorite go to destroy your life tactic.
Yeah. And they do it all so well. I mean, if Republicans were a fraction as good as the Democrats at holding the line and going after their opponents and banding together, we'd be living in a different country right now. But
Yeah, we would. But a lot of them are part of the, we hate each other when the cameras are on, but when the doors are closed, we're
yeah,
chummy best friends.
yeah, they all get paid by the same lobbyists.
Yeah, they sure do. They sure do. It's crazy. Now, the main purpose why I brought you here is because leftists we're totally two of the same people between conservatives and people on the left. They celebrate murder. They are very emotional, not fact-based creatures. So, Jolly Good Ginger, jeez, oh Pete's. Jolly Good Ginger, you've roasted him a time or two. Have you ever ran into him in public?
No, I haven't. You know, it kind of started with him because he had commented on a video that I made, and one thing that I found that is that these social media influencers are so full of shit and so full of themselves, and they pat themselves on the back so much you want to put them in a straitjacket. And I'm not the kind of person that believes that your social media following is a testament of your character or who you are. And I've
Truth.
had millions of followers on platforms before. I accidentally had 1 million followers on TikTok when I was running for office, and I didn't even know what that meant. And so when I see these folks, going on their little tiffs and tirades, I just make it a point to kind of check them. But in this case, Jolly Good Ginger had said something about me, and the video was sent to me, and I just made a series of videos after that, and then at one point it was kind of a back and forth. I would do a video, then he would do one, then I would do one, then he just he gave up. So I guess I won, but I
Well,
think yeah, at the end of the day, when it comes to this stuff, I just like to induce a little bit of candor and show the Democrats, how stupid they are.
well, it would be one thing if he was like this for free, but he gets paid to do this. So, he's a paid, not only does he get paid for views and from whatever content he makes, but it's also been proven time and time again that he's getting paid by the Democrat Party or the Democrat Socialists of America. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in black and white. I'm not saying something that's not true. It's true. And the focus of our video today is going to be Harry Sisson because I roasted him. I like to roast him. The Crimson Chin. His chin always enters the room before he does, and he's a paid shill as well. So paid
Mhm.
shills. Whatever happened to that GoFundMe money that Jolly Good Ginger, what was it for? And did he ever have to give that money back? I'm just wondering.
Well, from what I understand, he was using it to support the veterans lockout, and a friend of mine runs a very successful podcast or media show on YouTube called the Next News Network. It's N3, I think it's called. It's Gary Franchi, and
Mhm.
he has a couple million or so followers on YouTube. And so he had mentioned that there was a veterans lockout in Washington D.C. He knew that I have a place there, and he asked me if I could check into it. So I drove by and filmed it. And this was supposed to be the night that they were all hanging out in the tent, and nobody was there. And so they were using this GoFundMe account supposedly to, I don't know, support themselves while they were there, sitting at Union Station harassing people. And they made a big tiff about it the day after. Even though they all posted, there was a couple people that had posted that night that they were leaving for the night, going to get some rest, and they're going to be back in the morning. But they've made a rash of videos over the next 2 weeks, almost, you know, every night, showing, hey, we're here, it's midnight, we're here, you know, trying to prove that they had actually were doing what they said they were doing. But I don't know what happened to the GoFundMe money. I know when that video came out, when I put that video out, got a pretty severe reaction from all of the liberal creators. It's almost like they have a, you know, little Discord and they talk to each other. Go get J.R. Majewski. But they shut that GoFundMe down. I was actually contacted by GoFundMe and they asked me questions, but they didn't add any detail, and I haven't heard anything back. But it looks to me as if once that GoFundMe account was closed down, Jolly Good Ginger
he went home, huh?
very public about his drinking habits at night, and he bought himself what looks to be a pretty expensive electric bicycle. So, you know.
Damn, I don't see how all that money and you couldn't go to the dude. Like, come on, man. Like the teeth. I know some people have bad teeth, and I know it. So a lot of people can't afford it, right? Dentistry, orthodontistry. You know, I've spent thousands to get my teeth fixed. You know, you would think that would be on his first order of business, but I guess when you're too busy crying on the internet that you're in a Mexican bar drinking Modelo, I guess your priorities aren't that much in order, right?
He has veterans benefits, you know. I mean, hell, I advocated that Jolly Good Ginger would be better off spending his time being a salesman on TikTok Shop and selling Gap filler. You know, I think he would be the perfect spokesman for that. He would sell the hell out of it, and we wouldn't have to watch that weird bipolar guy with the beard that's always screaming at his wife and jumping in an inflatable hot tub.
Oh, good Lord, man. Oh,
you all know what
Lord.
I'm saying, and I don't even know his name.
I do. I recognize it. So I got a couple of videos of your roasts of the Jolly Good Ginger. The Cam Higbee footage was gold. This was like not even gold. It was internet platinum.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was Cam. Once I found out it was Cam, it made it so much better because Cam's such a nice guy.
He really is. He really is. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. We have people all across YouTube, and I wish it would show the full number of how many people are viewing right now, because we got Rumble. Thank you guys for following Rumble. JR, oh yeah, he's all over the place. He's on X. He's on. You're on TikTok, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You on YouTube too?
Yeah, I have a small channel on YouTube, but I've never really put any time into it. I probably should, but it's JR the number 4 Ohio on YouTube.
Well, you have this thing called a job, JR.
Yeah,
so it's like
true.
we understand. You're a very smart man. You're a very smart man, and it's unfortunate that Ohio lost such a good candidate, because if you were running in my district, you would have gotten my vote, JR.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. You know, I put out a tweet this morning that the local elections are more important than presidential, because that's exactly how we get these radicals in office, right? That's how they weasel their way in, because people don't show up to vote. And when you don't show up to vote, it's not just about your favorite candidate winning. It's about making sure that the bad candidates don't. And
right.
I guess that one's doing pretty good. So actually, I got him at the No Kings. I pulled that one up where he's at a No Kings rally where he admits something openly. Well, let me see. He openly admits. Let me pull this up. And let me share this screen instead. Sorry, guys. I haven't done this in such a while that I completely forgot. I completely forgot how this works, because I've actually been doing a lot of things in my life that take me away from my social media, and that sucks, because I know a lot of people like to watch me. But all right, you ready?
Well, Jolly Good Ginger just admitted that he's.
I gotta rewind it. Sorry.
So I'm Antifa.
Well, Jolly Good Ginger just admitted that he's part of a terrorist organization called Antifa.
So we're here to protest against fascism.
Yep. I think this is just enough for the Trump administration now to capitalize on whatever case they have built on this guy. Oh boy, Jolly. Tell you what, man, too many Modelos and sleepless nights in Mexican taverns and back rooms or whatever the fuck. Where you been? Anyway, he's not posting too much on TikTok anymore. He's relegated to Facebook where he doesn't get picked on. Here's the deal. Jolly Good Ginger is likely being paid by a Democratic organization, and they can make direct contributions by way of Facebook ads and Facebook promotions and things like that. So, Jolly doesn't want anybody to know that he's paid. So, TikTok isn't the platform for him. So the handlers are probably directly compensating him by way of Facebook. Tricks of the trade. Old toothless bandit. You're getting good, aren't you? I always knew you were Antifa.
And he admits it. Listen here.
I'm Antifa.
Oh my God. So, and this is after the fact that the Trump administration declares Antifa. That's what I call him, Antifa.
If you ask him in public, he will swear that he said he's Antifa, but he has a lisp, so it's misconstrued.
Shut up. I'm not Antifa. I'm Antifa. I call him Antifa.
Oh, I wish I had the accounts that have been banned on TikTok and all the videos that I made about him before. Oh, they used to be really, really, really good.
Yeah, well, luckily now it's not so like censor conservatives as it used to be. Like after the what do you think it started before the election, or I think it was after the election is when they were like, it was a TikTok ban. I think the TikTok ban is when things started to shift a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when Trump got active with TikTok, I mean, there's a lot of inner workings behind the scenes on why he got active with TikTok and what his intentions were and how the presumptive investors and new owners of TikTok, were committed to Trump's election. So, saying it out loud makes it sound illegal, but it's not. And he actually was pretty keen on some of the censorship that was happening there. So,
they look at this. They're like, shh, no more censorship talk. Yeah, I'm glad that he did that. White House, whoever is running that social media account is probably by far one of the funniest people on the planet, and I don't know who it is.
I do.
You better text it to me. I won't. I swear.
It's a young college kid, young Republican college kid. I think he's like 26.
Jeez, oh Pete, man, I would love to buy him a case of whatever he drinks. So Cam Higbee, man, you're right. He's a sweet kid. He's not confrontational at all, but he gets beat up a lot. Like, what the hell? He goes to the HBCUs, right? And Trump is the one that gave the long-term funding. And what was it, 500 million to the HBCUs?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And so he goes there in a MAGA hat and it's like a mob of people. It was like, wow. Like, why the MAGA hat is like the new like little mustache. You know what I mean? It's very confusing to me because like we're not the ones who are carving swastikas in the sides of Teslas. Right. We're not the ones who have free Palestine, the Palestine flag, or watermelons in our bio. We're not the ones chanting from the river to the sea. They attack people. They were attacking the Jewish students at colleges and universities all across America. So if anybody's really, it's them.
Yeah, they're masters at projection.
Very much so. Very much so. I think a lot of them have a lot of internalized hatred for themselves, and that is why they must project that onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. And if you have the truth on your side, they really hate you.
That's a fact.
So I have the clip of the fall. Like I put sound effects to this before. I like put fart noises. I don't have that clip, but I forgot to add it. My goodness.
I did one with HD audio where you could hear Jolly whisper or whistling as he fell back.
Really?
Yeah, from his tooth.
Shut up. Is it real? Oh, that's funny.
They say it's real.
I gotta rewind it. Look at him. He's like, what, dude?
Then he makes a video right away. I tripped on the concrete.
Yeah,
It was underneath my
okay.
feet. It was all bricks. Fucking liar.
The cam. That was the whole interaction, I think.
Yeah.
But one more time for good measures. Whoop. Oh, I wanted to take it all the way to the beginning, and it won't let me. There we go. Ready? There's the concrete that he tripped on. Where? It was all flat. He's angry. Do you see that dude's such an angry person.
Very egotistical. Very brittly egotistical. I mean, look, when you're obese and under 5'9" with a gap in your teeth, you probably have a lot of character flaws and
Plural.
demeaning thoughts of self-consciousness. So I feel bad. So I feel bad for him, but whatever.
You try to feel bad for somebody like that, and then they open that mouth of theirs. It's like, God, stop. I got another video of you exposing him, actually, and I think this is about the GoFundMe. I'm not sure, but because I didn't label any of these, I just grabbed up links and whatnots and sent them to myself. And I don't know if, this one is the GoFundMe. This is where you exposed him, and I think it's worth seeing. Like, this is his own actions will tell you exactly what his character is. So let's roll it. Oh, if I would do this.
And what he's up to in D.C.?
We're at Union Station. This is the veteran sit-in. We have decided as a group of veterans to come here and not leave until the National Guard leaves. How do you guys support us? So we've set up a GoFundMe. If you go here.
Yeah, that's all fake.
There's no fucking veteran lock-in, dude. Jolly good ginger is nowhere to be seen.
It's all fake. He's actually used that to raise over $100,000 on a GoFundMe. Yeah, I think that's against GoFundMe's rules or their laws, but I'm not sure. A lot of people are asking me if I know. I don't know. I have no idea. I would encourage you, though, to go to his GoFundMe, and if you feel as if what he's doing violates their rules, well, you should report it, because that's what good people do.
I did.
That's what we do. He should get a job. I mean, one could argue that working for the DNC and shilling and grifting is having a job, but I don't know. I don't think it is.
I don't know what went wrong with him. Has he seen war or combat at all?
I have no idea. It's hard to tell with him. There's been so many different stories. I just think, look, people like him, if you just pay attention to the way he operates and just his personality quirks, he's obviously somebody that feels like they're important and wants to be famous, wants to be important. And that's what draws a lot of these folks, these bad actors, to politics. They're too ugly to go to Los Angeles, so they go to Washington, D.C. I mean, that's the reality. That's why our grandparents used to say D.C.'s for ugly people. It's for the people that couldn't make it in Hollywood. I mean, that statement's there for a reason. And some people try to go to Washington, D.C. to make a difference, and some people go to try to make a difference for themselves. And Jolly is definitely one of the people that is doing this all for himself. You can tell how his mannerisms, how he gets so outright offended, how he's a hypocrite. He'll say, in one video, he'll get drunk on Modelo and he'll cry in a Mexican bordello, and he'll say, we should all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And the next minute you see him, screaming in the face of elderly people, calling them maggots and fascists. I mean, he's a shit person, and there's no fixing that. I mean, it's kind of like you have a 12-year-old dog that shits in the house. You're not going to change that. He's going to continue to do it, and
Right.
There's no better way to describe it than Jolly Good Ginger is an old ugly dog that shits in the house, and you're just going to have to wait till that old ugly dog passes on.
Yeah.
You either love it or hate it, and unfortunately, he's been grasped and embraced by the left, and they're using him and manipulating him for his following, because he does have a pretty good following on social media. So he has outreach that they can use, and it's probably cheap. But as you've seen over the past few days with him and folks like Chris Valenti, they're realizing that their party is not everything that they've been told, and that's because the Trump shutdown has ended, and these highfalutin liberals who are getting a taste of mingling in D.C. Wanted the shutdown to continue because they don't give a shit about people that can't afford to eat. What they care about is being able to hang out with Aaron Parnas and his rich dad, and go drink Manhattans at some weird gay bar in Washington D.C.
And it's so crazy because he doesn't look like the stereotypical Democrat, like puppet, like Harry Sisson, like you said, Aaron Parnas. They've come from very wealthy families. Chris Valenti, something's definitely wrong with him. And since the Democrats voted with Republicans, these people are losing their minds.
Yeah, I just did a video about it yesterday. They're all saying that they're going to primary these folks, and what they don't understand about politics, just like they don't understand about Republicans, and they're just screaming in the camera, is that they don't have the finances and they don't have the will or the knowledge to primary these folks. These folks own them, and it's just an unfortunate reality for them. The difference between the left and the right is, while they call us cultists and they say we're beholden to Donald Trump, Republicans challenge Donald Trump when he steps out of commitment. Republicans give him feedback, and he listens and reacts to that feedback. Case in point, what he's doing with the tariffs. I mean, originally he said he's going to give a $2,000 dividend check, and then a lot of people were saying, I don't want it. Use it to pay off the national debt. What happens within 12 hours, he comes out with a statement saying he's going to use the remainder of it to pay off national debt. Now, Democrats wouldn't do that. They don't listen. They're not in the comments, right?
Mm-mm.
And that's what Jolly and Chris Valenti will soon learn. And look, if it leads them to the Republican Party, then so be it, because that's how most of us got here. Is we were lied to, we realized it, and we saw a dude that was brash, didn't take any shit, and we thought, you know what, I'd get in a bar fight with that dude. That's my kind of guy, and
Right.
that's why people circled around Trump.
Well, see, I circled around Trump because, like you just said, I figured it out that Obama, when I was voting for Democrats, I was sold a dream and was given a nightmare when he bailed out the banks. He ruined our economy. He didn't bring home the troops. He didn't do anything he said he was going to do. He enriched himself. I remember he came into office worth 600,000, and I don't even know what his net worth is today. It's off the charts. So I finally said, "You know what?" And then when I got off of drugs, especially, my mind was clear, and I was able to see how much the Democrats lie and they pander and they tell you what. Like Tom McDonald, one of my favorite musicians, he says, "Black lives only matter once every 4 years," meaning
Mhm.
they only pander. Hot sauce Hillary. It's really bad when you can actually see it with a clear mind, and I was raised to vote for Democrats because,
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of boomers think that the Democrat Party is the same Democrat Party of the '60s when it's completely gone way far radical left. Too
Yeah,
radical for my liking.
I found, so I've always known about Trump. I always thought he was a cool kind of dude. I read his books when I was younger. Um, Actually got a master's degree in project management because I liked one of Trump's books where he talks about one of the best people that he'd ever known was the lady who was his project manager when he ran, the Trump organization. And I liked the fact that he would say this lady could go work with the mob and she could work with the union. and she didn't take shit from anybody, and everything was, he made it sound like this person was great. Now that wasn't the reason I just went out and did that, but it stuck in my mind as, when I read that book at a younger age. And then my father, who has passed away, but he was a Blue Dog Democrat, worked at Toledo Jeep, and union to the bone, and we would argue politics all the time. I was finding my way politically after the military, and I started listening to Rush Limbaugh. And as a kid, I hated Rush Limbaugh. Oh my God, because my grandfather used to play him all the time, and I thought, Jesus, what is this guy talking about? He's so obnoxious, and I didn't get the humor. And as an adult, I was working at the nuclear power plant, and I was working night shift. And when I'd be in my office, I'd have the AM radio replay, because that's the only thing you can get inside of the building, because there's so much security and radioactive shielding that you can only get AM signals. So I'd listen to the AM radio 1100 out of Cleveland, and I'd listen to Rush Limbaugh, and I just thought, man, this dude's talking a lot of good stuff. And then I actually have a shirt. I actually have a picture on Facebook. It's got like 80,000 likes. It's from 2011, and I went and had a shirt made that said Team Trump, and because I thought Trump was going to run in 2012, and it ended up not happening. But then in 2016, my father, that Michael Moore
Oh Lord.
video where he goes to Michigan, and he plays that video of all the people outside waiting for Trump, and he gives this 10-minute diatribe about how Trump could be the downfall of the Democratic Party. He speaks to the people. He's a man of the people. People love him. My dad watched that video, and I remember him calling me, and he's like, Trump's gonna win. This guy, you got to watch this guy. I already knew who he was, but I thought, he's just doing this. He's a businessman. He's not going to do it. And then when he decided to run, I was all in. Well, then so he won his election, and then in 2019, I lost a bet with a local veterans group, and I ended up painting the Trump campaign logo on my property, and I live right on Lake Erie. And I painted the Trump 2020 logo. It made national news, and it's about the size of a football field. And Pete Hegseth found out about it because a friend of mine served with Pete. They called me. They had me on Fox and Friends in the morning on July 12th of 2020 or 19. I can't remember.
We gotta find that clip on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel. It's all over it's all over everywhere. So I painted my lawn with the Trump logo, and it's like perfect. It's I spent a lot of time doing it, a lot of engineering into it, and so Pete Hegseth found out about it. He called me. I was on Fox and Friends that morning, and about 10 minutes after the episode ended, I got a phone call, and it was from the White House switchboard. And they said, is this Jared Majewski? I said, yes. I said, please hold for President Trump. And I said, get the fuck out. Shut the fuck up. And the person starts laughing, and they're being professional because they can't break professionalism. They're military. No, sir,
Right.
Please hold for the President of the United States of America. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Who is this? And
You thought it was a prank call, didn't you?
Yeah. Next thing you know, I get a click. Hey, this is your favorite president. JR, how are you? And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, no, it's okay. It's all right. It's just me. It's just me, your favorite president. It's like, I seen what you did with your lawn. That's great. That's amazing. That's fantastic. And he's like, next time we come to Ohio, we're gonna have to fly over, and we're gonna have to see you for a rally. And I'm like, oh, I'd love that. And he's like,
That is
fantastic.
too funny.
So
Too funny.
So then the next time he came for a rally, I got a letter in the mail of VIP passes, and actually it wasn't a letter, it was an email.
Mhm.
And I got a letter commemorating afterwards, but I've got multiple things. I get Christmas cards from every year. I got this, he signs all this stuff for me, sends me letters. I mean, I got a big picture of me and him up there on the wall. It's probably 8 feet tall. And he's he was friendly with me. We talked. He asked me about Ohio. You saw probably all the farmers that were cutting the name Trump into their cornfields.
I
Right?
did.
Yeah. So I helped those people program their GPS so they could do that. I ended up painting that. I ended up keeping my lawn painted. I painted it every week for 8 months, I think it was. Cost me around $100,000, about $2,000 a week to paint it, and I probably had over 50 to 60,000 people travel to my home, all because and then I decided to run for Congress, and when I decided to run,
Smear
the
campaign
president.
happened.
Well, yeah. At first I was winning. I was doing really good. President endorsed me. Was campaigning with JD and everything. I remember when the president called me. He's like, "Jer, do you know JD Vance?" And I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "What do you think about him?" I was like, "I like him." He's like, "That's fantastic." He's like, "He's a lot like you. He's just skinnier and taller, but you both have good beards. Great. All the great presidents from Ohio had beards. Did you know that? Garfield and and Grant." And I'm like, yeah. So ended
That's
up
wild.
helping JD, and JD got elected. I lost, but I would have won had they not. And it wasn't really the Democrats. It was Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy sold me out. So
He's such a
and
weasel, man. Kevin McCarthy is not a Republican. That's a Republican a Democrat in Republican face.
yeah,
Uniparty scumbag. You made Channel 3 News.
yeah, they were flying over my home for about 4 hours because I wouldn't interview with them because I refused to interview with the Democratic media. And they were like, "Why won't you interview with us?" I said, "Will Trump interview with an MSNBC or CNN affiliate? No. I mean,
Of
why
course
should
not.
I?"
I
Yeah,
want to see if they do have it. They have here.
I interviewed with that lady because a friend of mine knew her. Yeah,
Wow. Well, this is WKYC and Channel 3 in Cleveland.
yep.
Look at that. Good God.
Yeah.
Golly. $100,000 to
Paint.
do that? Because you had to get there. They're freezing my stream.
Well,
You had to get that
it,
special paint, right, for the grass?
yeah, and it was about $2,000 every time he painted it, and then I had to get the sprayer, and you know, it took me a week to paint it. So I'd cut my grass, and then I'd start painting every week.
That's
I had
amazing.
one hell of a tan that year. Oh man.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Man, that's
I actually
huge.
painted it. I actually painted his face on it too. But that was about a
Okay,
year, about 7 or 8 months later. It's not on here.
no,
I
it's
did
not on
it.
there.
I did it a lot longer, or I did it about a year after.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, we don't like the fake news. The fake news is a joke. They hate me, I tell you. They hate me. They don't like me telling the truth. As soon as you tell the truth, they're like, "Ah, shh, don't say nothing." Well, let me see if we got another roast here. I think this one is Jolly Good Ginger. This one says funny shit. So let me share this one instead. Sure. Oh, this is the urinal one. Somebody somebody put his logo in the urinal.
At the
All right.
VFW.
Oh my
Jolly Good
God.
Ginger, what?
Let me see.
Toilet urinal cake sticker or something at a VFW.
All right, that's what
I
that
don't
is.
know what veterans really think about Jolly Good Ginger. Yeah, this is Jolly Good Ginger, what? Toilet urinal cake sticker or something at a VFW hall. I don't know which one.
Oh God.
Someone sent this to me and said, "Look what we think about Jolly at our local VFW." So, Jolly Good Ginger.
That is
This
so
is how veterans think. You know, Jolly only represents a small margin of veterans, those that don't know how to use their veteran benefits, especially the ones that seek dental services. And, we just don't like it because he wears his veteran status on his shoulders or his sleeve and pretends as if it gives him some form of, I don't know, importance. Most of us just serve. We're glad to serve. We love the country, politics aside, but not Jolly. But hey, getting paid on. Wonder if they bought that with their GoFundMe account. I don't know.
that's a great question. I wonder if they bought that with the GoFundMe money. you know, uh, he's a vet. He's a vet. But what I don't understand is that if he's a vet, he should know the difference between what, because he threw up a big stink about the oath, right? And how DHS and the National Guard. I was in DC before the National Guard came in. Let me tell you, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But like they're not upholding their oath. They're in violation of their oath. No, they're not. You swear an oath to protect America from enemies, both foreign and domestic. But
Right.
But hey, and I feel like you said in this video, is that he only represents a small fraction of veterans that I think are emotionally damaged.
Yeah.
Like seriously emotionally damaged, because they're doing more harm to America than good. They're, for crying out loud, remember when he stuck up for that guy who burned the flag?
Yeah. Or that guy that slapped the shit out of an elderly woman.
Yes.
And everybody, I said something about it, and I had people on the right saying, fuck around and find out. And she smacked his phone, and yeah, you know what? That's cool. Can you do that legally? Sure, but is it principally and ethically correct? No. I mean, you're talking about a woman in her 70s and a big burly dude that's probably 6'3" or 6'4", just slaps the shit out of her. Then he hits her when she's on the ground with his flag, and that video wasn't shown. It was shown by someone standing across the street that had come out later. And at the end of the day, these people are waiting for the opportunity to physically strike someone. They are emotionally troubled. And if you don't think mental health is a problem, just Google Jolly Good Ginger and watch for 15 to 20 minutes and tell me. And Jolly Good Ginger has a mental health issue. Prove me wrong is kind of where I would be with that. And
right.
We wish I want the guys to get help. At the end of the day, I don't wish anything bad on them. I just think, they're just stupid, and that's the easiest way to say it.
Well, mix in some severe emotional damage that you have already with some Trump derangement syndrome, and you have a recipe for disaster. The way that they celebrated not only the execution of the United Healthcare CEO. I don't care if that guy was a good guy or not. I don't care. He had a family. He had children. Look at how they celebrated October 7th. Look at how they celebrated Trump being shot.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how they celebrated Charlie Kirk. And it's like you said, they're just waiting for an opportunity to get violent with you, because they can't win with just words, because you will embarrass them with facts, and their egos can't take that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have violence.
If someone on the right was to do something that something violent, not even to the degree of what we've seen with them, but just physically violent with hands, right? It would be. Look at the Marine that that tried to save people in the subway. I mean, there's many different examples of how when somebody on the right acts in defense, right, that they get taken to the town square. And for these folks, it's second nature to them. I mean, they're such emotionally fragile and erratic. It's hard to fathom. It really is.
Well, I think they're something went wrong where they deem it necessary to get violent, because they say words won't work. I've just seen it in my own comment section about having a disagreement, because I made a video that went viral. I don't know if you've seen it. Like Joe Pags messaged me. He was like, that was so good. That was so awesome. Good job. And I was like, thanks. I said, I wasn't speaking about the elderly. I wasn't speaking about the disabled. I wasn't speaking about veterans or the homeless people that need it. I was talking specifically about people who abuse the system. They have all this money for a brand new iPhone. They have all this money for their hair, their nails. They have all this money for a brand new BMW. They have all this money, but you ain't got money to feed your kids. You want taxpayers to do that? Then sell all of that stuff. Oh my God, the hate that I got from that, JR, is so unfathomable that I'm over here going, how could you take what I said and hear whatever you wanted to hear when I said it in plain English? I'm talking about people scamming it.
Yeah. Joe Pags is a solid dude.
He
What I would say is, it's a flaw in the system, and it's something that many people have been indoctrinated to, because the left has created this environment, or this social safety system, where they manipulated the system, broken the rules, and they've created an environment where people believe that they have certain rights, they can use these benefits for certain things, and it's just become common to them, and they don't understand the genesis of these programs. And so, when we talk about what's lawful and what should and shouldn't happen, you know, when we talk about the guardrails of these programs, it's foreign to them, because they don't understand it. They just think that they deserve, or they have a right to receive benefits, and they don't have to work. And so we're kind of cleaning up the mess of what the Democrats have created over the past 15, 20 years, and sometimes even longer. And these people are indoctrinated. And so, but look, I think as Republicans, conservatives, constitutionalists, whatever you want to call yourself, I would just say, us on the right side of history, we have to take some accountability too, because we allowed this to happen. We either didn't show up to vote, or we just said my vote didn't count, or we settled, or we didn't donate, or whatever we've done. At the end of the day, there's accountability to us too. And if we don't start rationalizing and realizing that, and if we keep fighting amongst ourselves, and not look at the actual priorities that we need to achieve in order to turn the country around, we're going to keep seeing this revolving door. It's going to be every 4, every 6, every 10 years. We're going to keep coming back to this place where we have a group of people that are overly emotional, that will do any and everything, because they legitimately feel like they're in survival mode, and we're the Nazis, or we're the fascists, or we're the evil people that they have to condemn and get rid of. And we either fix our problems internally and push forward and try to be the big tent party that Reagan wanted us to be, or we need to fight. And when I say fight, we need to really fight. And
well, I
one of those
agree.
two things are going to happen.
Well, I feel like the machine itself that keeps the bad, the America, right? The United States of America. I think the powers that be that hate Western civilization so much, like people, George Soros, for instance, right? He will dump as much money into these radicalized groups and militias and Antifa and Democrat socialists and all this, that, and the other, to keep Americans divided, to give them the tools necessary to be in that fight or flight. Like they don't have any flight response. They are in pure, like you said, survival mode. But we're not your enemies. Those people that are funding this are the true enemies. And if people were able to look past and think back to the 90s, where we could vote for whoever we want to and nobody gave a shit. If we can only get back to that, to let's agree to disagree, we would be unstoppable. We could fix this, but because we're so divided, whether it be race, which shouldn't even matter anyways, because nobody can change who they are. You can't change your skin color, nor did you have anything to do with what skin you were born in. They keep you divided on economics. Like, oh, the poor people are never going to be hanging out with the rich people. They keep you divided based off political beliefs, spiritual beliefs. It is evil. It's either people have to see that this is either it's good versus evil. And if we don't get it together, it's going to end up all bad.
It's good versus evil, both in a bipartisan factor, but also internally to the Republican Party, right? And one of the problems that we have right now in this country is we don't have a delineation of priorities. We don't have anybody standing up and saying, okay, our number one priority is this. Number two priority is this. Number three priority is this. Case in point, when President Trump took over, the first thing that he did was sign a litany of executive orders, and that was intended to satisfy all of the commitments that he had made during the campaign, right? Closing the border, securing the elections, boosting the economy, reducing inflation, lifting nuclear and energy back to where it needs to be, so that could then push down inflation. So he did all those things, and then what did he do? He turned his focus where it needed to be, which is on the global front, right? Because if America's not, if we don't have the ability to sell our goods and services to peaceful allies, then what good are we? Because we only have so much, so much appetite for product internally into the U.S. And our GDP is an important factor to our economics. So he turned globally. He started focusing outward. Now, what should have happened when he did that? Well, so upon his pivot, Congress should have been passing legislation that solidifies the executive orders. They didn't do that. Okay, they've sat on their ass. They've been partying like a bunch of fucking roadies that just got out of a Kid Rock world tour, and they've been drunk and slumming it, and again cheering and celebrating as if they've had something to do with these successes. And so Trump, in his mind, right, he's done what he's needed to do. Now, if you were to dissect everything that he's done by way of executive order, you'd say, you know what, that motherfucker did what he said he was going to do. But we are such a short attention span society. We want everything immediately. We see Trump as the guy putting in work, right? So then he's achieving in China and with Canada, with Mexico, with Hungary, and Britain, and going to the summit, and he's out saying, hey, here's what we're doing now, here's what we're doing here, we're Venezuela, all these other countries. And so the American people start saying, well, what the fuck? He's just focused on these foreign countries. No, he's not. He's done what he's needed to do, by virtue of the presidency. He's limited in what he can and can't do as an executive. And now the legislature needs to take over. They haven't done that. They've hidden.
Right.
And so we're blaming Trump now for progressively achieving, right? But we're doing it with a slanted perspective, expecting that he would have done all of these things at Congress. And that is, to me, now, look, the Trump and his people, I think at some point are going to look in the rearview mirror and say, you know what? We could have done this better. We could have communicated that better, what have you. He's going to have to fix it, and I think he will. But at some point, it's going to have to come by way of talking directly to the American people. And you have, all of these different influencers right now that, have become wealthy and developed these platforms by virtue of being a Trump supporter and using the Trump brand and the Trump name and Trump. And now, that we're winning, right? What are they doing? They're attacking one another. They're fighting for the news cycle. They want to get paid by the YouTubes and the TikToks and the Facebooks and all that, because they're paying people for rage bait and for rage farming and drama. And so it's Republicans we're our own worst enemies, because we don't have a list of priorities. We don't have a leader outside of Trump. We don't have a Congress that we can actually hold account. We can't hold these fuckers accountable. You can say everything you want. I'm going to primary this person. Okay, let's see it happen. There's a 90-some% effective percentile rate of members of Congress getting reelected once they're in that seat. It's virtually impossible, because money goes much farther than votes. And until we remove the George Soroses, until we get them out of playing in our politics, until we tell the party, here's another example. If you were to ask your audience, do you support term limits? I guarantee you over 90% of them will say yes. Guess what,
but
folks?
that doesn't
Term
matter.
limits is fucking bullshit. You know what term limits is? It's 2 or 3 dudes that are sitting in Washington, D.C. that run a bunch of big companies are getting wealthy off of telling you that we're going to use term limits. Number one, it's not going to happen. They'll never vote for it. And number two, we have term limits. It's called our voting system. If you don't like somebody, you should be able to vote them out of office. But you can't do that because the party holds the power. Now, here's how. Let's pick out some congressman, right? Jim Jordan, okay? If you gave Jim Jordan a 6-year tenure, he could not serve longer than 6 years. And after his 6 years, because he's term limited out, guess what? The party will find another Jim Jordan, and they'll pay for that other Jim Jordan to run in that election and win that seat. So they'll have another Jim Jordan, and there's nothing we can do about it. The party in D.C. should not be able to endorse or fund any primary elections. The localities and the districts across America should be able to pick their candidates. That's what the primary is for. The party should come in during the general election, and that's when they should be giving money and supporting candidates. They do it in the primary because that people go to DC, they kiss the rings, they sell out, and then they come back home and pretend that they're fighting for the people. They say the same old bullshit. They pretend they support Trump. It's all a charade. And once they get to DC, what do? They do the same shit all the other fuckers do. They cheat the stock market, and they sit with their thumb up their ass, not doing anything because they know they don't have to.
Right. Absolutely. You know what really, really, it's like, how do we expect to make a difference? Like, let's say my own local election, right? 30,000. We have a city of about 50,000 people. 30,000 decided to stay home. We had radical leftists on the school board, okay, that have pushed boys and girls bathrooms, explicit books in the hands of minors. And I'm talking not just, oh, you can pick a gender today, boys and girls. No, I'm talking about a father graphically raping his daughter in graphic detail. And that's in the hands of our kids. But the Bible can't be. But that is a Satanist book, a book about Satanism. Just bought that in May of 2025. School board approved that. So we have a majority radical leftists on the school board. All of this shit has happened. They've tried to usurp executive orders to keep boys out of girls' bathrooms and all this, and in sports and all this, that, and the other. The people, because, well, I don't have kids in school, so why do I have to show up to vote for the school board? Because there are people whose kids are in the school district, and these kids, academia has been stripped out and the Marxism has been pushed in. This gender ideology, they know it's bullshit. They do, but they're trying to drive a wedge between parent and child. They're trying to destroy the nuclear family and anything of good, sound, moral values. So I was so disgusted that so many of the people in my community decided, well, my voice doesn't matter apparently, or they had something else better to do on election day. And the conservatives barely lost. But if more people would have voted, because the fringe minority is the left. They don't realize that because people don't show up to vote in these local elections. And that is how they won, because apparently they're more organized than we are. And that's just a fact. It is. They're more loyal to the party than we are. And they are, because I'll vote for an independent if I feel like, hey, this is what their voting record is. This is how, I'm not just a Republican voter. I've voted Republican all the way down on a ticket before. That's because I don't want radical leftists in there. But the people that don't show up, JR, I think are our worst enemies, because when you don't show up, it's a vote for them.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think there's a couple different things that the Republican Party needs to do. So number one, where I think Republicans have had some issues is we conserve sometimes to our own detriment because we think we're conservatives, right? And so we have to make voting more accessible to legal voters. And I don't know how you do that, but the paper ballots and all of that's a fix to breaking the rules, right? So cast that aside. Don't even consider a free and fair elections with respect to breaking the rules. Consider getting access to people that would love to vote but can't. There are a lot of people that would love to vote but can't. The other part about it is that voting sometimes is seen as toxic. Many people don't want to go vote because they think, shit, I'm gonna have to stand in line with a bunch of fucking crazy liberals, right? So how can we change that paradigm? I think that's one factor that we should really consider. But number two, Republicans need to sell. Okay, so Democrats react with emotion, Republicans with fact. Well, we can sell facts with emotion. We just don't do that. And when we do, right, it's usually the people that we catch in lies. And they say, like, Ro Khanna, he's a Democrat, but he's just an example that comes to mind. He gets out and he says, we got to stop members of Congress playing in the stock market. He's one of the most prolific stock traders in the world. He has a portfolio that is almost, it outperforms almost every Democrat. And when he's been challenged about it, he says it's his wife. It's not his.
Same with Pelosi.
But he goes out and he goes out and starts a whole multi-million-dollar campaign about banning members of Congress from trading stocks, right? Republicans should be doing that kind of stuff. We should be out running ads, running commercials, talking to people with emotion, right? Put emotion to and behind our facts. We should have children showing them reading these nasty books, asking their parents crazy questions, and showing how their parents would react. Play that to a bunch of people, kids or no kids. I think that could inspire them to go out and vote. We just don't do those things because and it gets even to a deeper seated issue. We have consultants that rape and pillage campaigns. It's very, very expensive, and politics is like the only, legitimately, it's the only environment in America where nothing is fair, where everybody can't play. It is, I think, legitimately speaking, every other thing that you want to do in the U.S., it's fair. Like, everybody can do it if you're a citizen of the United States. Politics, that is not the case. In politics, you either have to be incredibly intelligent and able to outsmart these people, or you have to be ridiculously wealthy. And on both sides of those coins, you're going to get burnt. If you're like Trump and you're ridiculously wealthy and also smart, once you don't sign your name in blood on their little agreements, they're going to come after you. And then once they figure out that they can't defeat you, what are they going to do? They're going to invade your circle, and they're going to put people around you. They're going to manipulate you and tell you things that persuade you to do what you shouldn't do. So, I mean,
you're screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't. Like, how can we say that there's a candidate for Texas 30 right now by the name of Sheldon Daniels. I really like him because he's a veteran. He's a lawyer. He's a father. He's extremely intelligent. He can have a conversation. He's out in the community asking the community members, have you seen Jasmine Crockett? Do you even know who your representative is? The people don't, because they've never seen her doing anything for them. You would think that he would have it in the bag because he's out here, he's campaigning, he's doing what he says. He's one of those people that, hey, look, I'm by the book. I'm a vet. I'm a lawyer. I'm a father. I'm a husband. And this is what it is. This is the facts. She's not representing you. She's representing herself. She come from a very wealthy family. She's not broke. She's not from the hood at all, but she panders. And she's good at it, man. Have you looked at any of her videos before?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, hi, my name is Jasmine Crockett, and I'm so blessed to be elected to Congress. I'm so thankful. Thank you so much. She was like that quintessential, like, black girl who was just, thank you for very grateful for being elected to Congress. What she is today, I don't understand it. I really don't. I grew up in a black community in Maple Heights. You know where Maple Heights is at, right? I grew up in Maple Heights. I don't talk like that or even act like that. Neither do the people in Maple Heights. I don't understand where this comes from. She didn't even grow up in Dallas. She grew up in St. Louis, in one of the most affluent neighborhoods. And I think these people in Congress are installed. I really do. I think they're installed. MTG, what the fuck happened? JD or JR, I'm sorry. What happened to MTG?
I don't
JR.
know. I don't know. I think it's hard to say. I think, I used to be friends with her. It goes back to when she really wanted to be on committees and started working with McCarthy. I think she truly, I mean, if you remove some of the things aside and just listen to what she says, for example, she went on The View last week, but what she said was right.
She was right.
People don't like it. People say, oh, she's cheerleading for Nancy Pelosi. No, she's not. No, she's slapping members of Congress in the face, all leadership in the face. Because truly speaking, if you look at the people in Republican leadership, the only one that really supports Trump is Speaker Johnson. And he has a hard time doing that. And I know Mike personally too, and Mike's a good guy. Mike's the kind of guy that you'd give the keys to your house and you'd feel safe. But he's not the kind of guy that you jump into a foxhole with.
Well,
There's
he's
two
not
different two
McCarthy,
different
that's for
things.
sure. He's totally different than the McCarthy, but that's maybe what we needed. But Mike's got to, he's up against not only the left, but also the Republican Party as well. It's
Well,
not.
he needs to be MAGA Mike. He needs to yank these fuckers around. The problem with these people, especially with the speaker, is they have staffers working for them that run them ragged, that keep them distracted. These members of Congress wouldn't know what to do without their staffers. You want to have effective term limits. Term limit staffers in Washington D.C.
I agree. I think somebody said earlier in the comments that staffers are passed around like Pokemon cards, and I think that is a shining example of what goes on in DC. These staffers are off the chain,
Yeah,
JR. They're
I
off
know.
the chain. Look
Trust
what
me.
they're doing. And yeah, right, man. They're
I
yikes.
know I know so much that I've never said publicly and probably can't will never say publicly about some
You
of
can
these
tell
people and what
me,
they do.
man. I'd love to hear
Uh,
that shit.
these look there are and look the good people go down with the ship, right? Um, some people may not like Thomas Massey. I love Thomas Massey. I love him. He's a good guy. Why are him and Trump at odds with each other? Well, I'll tell you, because there's somebody on Trump's staff that doesn't like Thomas Massey,
Mhm.
and there's a animosity created there. And look, Thomas is just like Thomas Massey is the atypical Trump supporter. You come after him, he's coming right back. And
Yeah.
he may look like the MIT kind of nerdy guy, which he kind of is. He's got some juice. He's not intimidated. And
Oh,
you know, Thomas is one of the realest people. I'll give you an example. About a couple weeks ago, I flew from DC to Cleveland. I was buying a Tesla, right? And I'm getting in, buying a Tesla SUV. So land at the airport, I get an Uber. Uber's taking me to the Tesla, over in
Mayfield?
Lyndhurst. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Lyndhurst, yeah.
So I get in the car and there's a big burly dude that's my Tesla driver, and he looks in the rear. He goes, "I know you, man. You're Majewski, right?" And I'm like, "Fuck!" So my phone rings. I pick up the phone. I'm talking. While I'm talking, I'm distracted because I'm thinking like
Is he gonna
this
kill
guy,
me?
this guy like don't like me, or is he a liberal? You know what I mean? Because like Uber driver, DoorDash. I'm thinking it's probably like a liberal guy. So I hang up the phone and I'm like, "Hey man, you know me?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Is that gonna be a problem?" He goes, "Hell no!" And he turns around. He goes, "I voted for you, dude." He goes, "I saw you on a podcast with Thomas Massey, and you guys were talking about guns
No,
and stuff."
no.
So what
Nice,
do?
nice.
I text Thomas Massey. I tell Thomas Massey, and I record a video. Massey replies to me and sends a message to this Uber driver. So I ended up sending it to the Uber driver. So that's a real dude. And he makes a joke. He's like, "Hey, it's okay that you're from Ohio. Down in Kentucky, you know, we're taught a couple of things." And it's like, I forget what he says, but anyways, it's funny, and it made the driver dude's day. You know what I mean? And so Trump and Massey are fighting, right? It sucks, but it's just the way of politics. And at the end of the day, if you look at voting records, Thomas Massey's been solid.
He
Um,
has been.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know what's happened to her, but again, if you listen to what they say, you can always take it back to these members of Congress are so frustrated with not being able to get anything passed because leadership is like on vacation. And there's a lot of things getting done in Washington, D.C. right now. Let me tell you, I work there during the week, but it's getting done by special interest and donors. It's getting done by wealthy people. It's not getting done by the average everyday American. Congress is working, but they're working for the people that keep them in office.
They
And
always
Marjorie Taylor
are.
Greene is frustrated at that.
Well, maybe I misjudged her, but the whole like Epstein thing and the View thing, and then Caitlin Collins on MSN or CNN, whatever one she's on, that one, ooh, can't stand her. But it's like I met her before at a Turning Point event in Detroit where Trump was. He was there, right? And I met her there and I asked her, it was just weird because I was like, how in the hell do you sit in the same room with Jasmine Crockett and not fly over the table? How? I couldn't do I said, I commend you because I could never do it. I couldn't do it. And she just gave me some generic like response. And it was just like, it felt so like it just felt so not real to me. I was just like so sad. I was like, man, I was really excited to meet her. You know, like when you're super excited to meet somebody and they're absolutely nothing like you pictured. That is the feeling I got when I met her. And it was really sad because Virginia Gumphrey was one of the most biggest Trump supporters. And you know, she for years defended Trump with this Epstein stuff, you know, and when she stood in front of that camera with all those women, and then the ABC News, or what was the NBC or ABC, they aired the victims, and the victim says, no, we never seen President Trump do anything. It just, and the list, oh, we're going to make our own list, and the list is still not out. Like, JR, I've been through some shit in my life, and I'm telling you what, I don't care what retribution I suffer by telling what happened and who did it to me, right? I don't care. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops. And this is like a big, I don't even know how to describe it. It pisses me off because I've been in a situation what these girls had to deal with Epstein and shit, you know, and you can keep me quiet, but a lot of people don't understand is that the NDAs that they signed when they got those big ass settlements from like JP Morgan and stuff, this is all a bunch of bullshit. They can't they can't tell you who did that and who was there on Epstein Island, because as soon as they do, they're going to get sued by the people that had to pay them out. Those I think it was $250 million that JP Morgan had to cough up.
Well, and the other thing is like what people don't understand is that just the legacy of how the Epstein case was, how the information and intelligence was gathered, right? You had judges that were today you would say they're anti-Trump. They were asking the FBI just to go do, you know, interviews, and they were taking, you know, long statements. A good portion of these statements never went through grand jury, and I think only one or two of them did. And in the one that did the highest profile, the lady that ended up losing her life, and so she was she accused Alan Dershowitz, the lawyer, of being part of it. And when it went through grand jury, they you know, they called her out on a lot of things, and they ended up determining that she was either lying or she had a mistaken identity. And based on that, you know, there are a lot of people that have been claimed to have partaken in, you know, certain things with this case. And the fact of the matter is none of them have gone through grand jury, and a lot of them won't, because the witnesses are either gone or they don't want to testify. And so once their names become public, then they become you know, vulnerable to the media. And we know the media slanders and libels, and they'll convict them in the public square. And that's not due process, and that's what
Right.
Trump's trying to prevent. Now, you flip the coin again, and you can also consider this, that a lot of the people that are involved, that many of us probably want to see go down, aren't American and don't fall within the jurisdiction of the United States court system. So we have no power. So where we gain power is if Trump knows about these things and he can leverage that in negotiations internationally. Sure, that may feel cheap to people, but at least he's getting some juice out of the grape. The other way around, there would be nothing but resentment, because you got to remember, these other countries, they don't operate like us. They don't have a constitution. They don't have a republic. They don't have democratic processes that, you know, protect the privacy and say that you're innocent until proven guilty. So if we release their names, like Mohammed bin Salman or whatever, the MBS that runs Saudi, let's just say, for example, he's involved. If his name gets put out there, I mean, what is that going to do to his relationship with the president? And you know, we're highly reliant on Saudi Arabia and many other countries where this could be the case. And look, it sucks, it's terrible, but America doesn't rule the world, and our laws don't apply everywhere. And
True.
just because it's unethical here, I mean, we don't eat domesticated animals here, but other countries do. You know, I mean, that's a that's a far stretch from the Epstein case and what they've done. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to compare apples to apples here. I'm just trying to rationalize the thought process, right? The logic. It's just because we don't do it here and it's frowned upon here and illegal here doesn't mean that's the case in other countries. And we don't have any type of legal authority over them. So releasing these files and doing whatever that the American public wants to do with them could be detrimental. And you have to believe, I have to believe, that Trump knows that, and he has some insight on that, and he's willing to risk a revolution within his voter base to stand on that, stand in that circle. So I
Well,
don't,
he
I don't, I don't
campaign
see
on
him
that
doing it
though.
unless it's right. He
He
didn't.
didn't.
He only said Epstein 3 times, and I actually did a couple of videos on this. He said it 3 times, and all 3 times he was provoked. He never volunteered Epstein. He never really gave a shit about it. At the end of
Exactly.
the
It was at a
day,
town hall, I think. One of them was at a town hall when he was asked,
mhm,
right? And he was
it was
asked,
all
"Would
by the
you?"
left wing media. All by the
Yep.
left wing media.
Yeah,
They
and you
they
know
all
what? They
brought it
didn't
up.
give a shit. You know why I don't hold anything that they say of value with this Epstein? Any leftist, any media, any Democrat, I don't give a shit. You had Obama's term with Palm Beach, and they dropped the ball big time there with that non-prosecutorial agreement. They had his ranch in New Mexico. They had his Manhattan mansion, right? They all dropped the ball here, and then no one gave a shit about it, not only during Clinton, but Bush. He was doing this for decades, JR. Clinton, nothing. Bush, nothing. Obama, nothing. Obama again, nothing. Joe Biden, nothing. But as soon as Trump, I'm so disgusted that because they don't want him about America first because
Yeah.
those lobbyists aren't about America first. They're not. They don't give a shit about any of us. And if the
Yeah.
left only knew how they talked about them and how probably make fun of them more than we do, they would be so mad, but they're so indoctrinated to hate us because we voted differently, or we could say there's only 2 genders. We can define what a woman is. They hate us for that. They hate us and they don't want to focus on, hey, look, it's us versus them. It's not us versus us. It's us versus them. And they just don't realize it. I don't think they
Yeah.
ever will.
No, I have this sneaking suspicion that the intelligence community is behind the Epstein thing, and that if Trump gives the string to be pulled, the sweater will unravel.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope, I feel it in my gut that if Trump is aware of this, he'll solve the problem before he makes it public, because
Right.
he's not gonna tell everybody what he's doing, right?
As he shouldn't.
He'll fix it, and I think when he does it, I mean, he's gonna have a mess on his hands no matter what, right? But if he
Mhm.
reveals it to, and he'll say, well, bring it, the sunlight will wash it clean. Not true. Not always true. Sometimes the sun can burn, right? You got to protect your skin at the end of the day. So let's see what he does. If we don't get some form of an answer or more of a comprehensive response over the next year or so, then we start ringing the bells. But we don't do it now. We're only doing it now because there's a lot of money driven behind it, because they're looking to throw, there's people out there that are funding, like I said, with social media, whether it's in their face or it's subliminally, people are getting funded to polarize the MAGA movement, because right now the only path to victory in 2028 for the Democrats is what they're trying to do. And I don't know if you've realized this, but I've been saying it now for the past month or so. They are trying to astroturf what Trump did in 2016, and they're doing it by way of this purple revolution, this
Yes.
all this other shit. They're trying to create this, and you have all these young kids coming on and saying, "I used to be a Republican, but now I'm a Democrat, and we have to work together." No, motherfucker, you're 21 years old. Your nuts just dropped. You don't get us. You don't get to tell us how we're going to save the country. Like you were drinking fucking Similac when we were out fighting, and but it's all a very well thought out astroturf of how Trump came in 2016, and it's led by some Democratic think tanks, because right now there's an inter party battle between J.B. Pritzker and Gavin Newsom on who's going to be the presidential nominee, And then you have AOC and Bernie Sanders just want to be part of that, right? One of them wants to be the vice president. And Gavin Newsom is he's the establishment Democratic candidate, right? The establishment wants Gavin Newsom. But J.B. Pritzker's the AOC progressive type with all the money who can fund. Look, Pritzker spent about $1 million plus on me against me. So I know a lot about that man. And he can self-fund. And he's eventually, if they can stop going after Trump and JD Vance for a little bit, we stop giving them windows of opportunity of attacking one another and giving them, when they stop wanting Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people on The View, then we know they're about to start fighting amongst each other. And when they do, that's when the real charade is going to be exposed. But until then, right, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, which is trying to astroturf MAGA in 2016. And, if we're not attentive, they will be successful.
Absolutely. Could you imagine America with a Newsom AOC ticket? Could you imagine? That's worse than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Don't care what anybody says. It would be even more disaster.
Pritzker would be worse.
Pritzker than, well, yeah, because JB Pritzker is just the dude's the heir for the Hyatt. I think they kicked him out, right? They kicked him out of the family or something like that.
I don't know. I think maybe, but I'm not sure. But it's probably all for publicity because he doesn't want to be affiliated as he doesn't want to be seen as a trust fund.
Right?
Yeah, it's probably bullshit. Pritzker's worse, and I think Pritzker's going to be the nominee.
Well, Pritzker wants to defund. He wants to dismantle ICE. He wants to open up our borders again. He wants men and women's bathrooms and locker rooms. He doesn't want ICE. He doesn't want any protections whatsoever. He wants the rich to stay rich and in power and the poor to get poorer, and you will eat nothing and like it. This is how I think they are all involved with Agenda 2030. I think they are. I think all of the Marxists in our government, Democrat socialists in our government, they are the way that 2030 gets in. If Hillary would have gotten in, it would have ushered in the globalist Agenda 2030. And if people think that Project 2025, which is the Heritage Foundation, which has nothing to do with President Trump, if they only understood how minuscule Project 2025 is in comparison to Agenda 2030, if they only knew, man, this is like digital currency. This is digital passports. This is your social credit scores. This is those 15-minute cities. This is everything that's bad in a world is funded by the globalist. That they people just have no idea. JR, they don't.
Actually, just so you know, 2025 had a lot to do with the president and Russ Vought and those guys that are in the admin right now that are actually doing good things, Stephen Miller. The reason why 2025 was shunned is because consultants within the administration were fighting over who was going to pick, who was going to lead the transition team, because Project 2025 took the liberty to say, here's who should be what. And it pissed people off. And then they started advising the president to stand away from Project 2025. But
I read it. It wasn't that all that bad.
No, it's actually, if we were doing more of Project 2025, we'd be in a little bit better spot. But it's found its way. But again, this is where you can't blame the president because he hires people to advise him. He can't be everywhere all the time. Right. And at that time, the right move was to say that he wasn't aware of 2025 because he wasn't. But I think it's come full circle where the Project 2025 people are really the people that are trying to lead change and make the biggest difference.
Well, I read it. It's not bad at all. It's basically getting back to your common core values, good values, judging based off of content of character again. It's not bad. It's bringing real, God back in to the schools. It's pretty good. It looks pretty good to me, but they have demonized it so badly with the left. Ayanna Pressley and all this. The media law Obama changed, the Smith-Mundt Act of 2012. Yeah, I think that if he would only repeal this, he did see a viral video of a girl. She's pretty smart. She looked like a lib, so I completely misjudged her. And she was talking about revisiting the Smith-Mundt Act, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, where Barack Obama made literal Democrat propaganda machine. That's where that shit all took off. If he would only do that, and then maybe, just maybe, rename it as the Charlie Kirk.
Kirk Act.
You're right, the Charlie Kirk Act.
Yeah,
I
I
think
talked to the president about the Smith reforming the Smith-Mundt Act was something that I talked about on the campaign in 2020. That was one of the things that I told him. I also told him that we should put pressure on the American Society of Journalistic Integrity and make them govern internally, have an industry-based governance system, so the FAA doesn't have to be so intrusive, because conservatives like small government, which I understand. But if you look at like the bar, if you look at the medical review board, right? If you commit malpractice in the medical industry, then the medical review board will strip you of your license. If you commit malpractice as an attorney, the bar will strip you of your license. The government doesn't intervene. And so we should have the American Society of Journalistic, I think it's American Society of Journalistic Integrity. They are supposed to be the industry replicant of those two bodies. The problem is they don't do what they say they will do. They don't live up to their bylaws and everything. So, if a journalist goes on TV and they lie, then they should lose their license to be on TV. They shouldn't be able to be journalists anymore.
Absolutely.
License the motherfuckers. If once they put a microphone in their ear and they read from a teleprompter, they no longer have free speech. They're talking for a network who is paid by sponsors. If you have a Tucker Carlson or a Glenn Beck or somebody like that writes and produces their own show, that's a different story, because that it's an opinion piece. But when they work for a major news network, right, they should not have the right to free speech. They should have to have some form of integrity. And if they do say things that aren't, true, then they should have to fix it. That's what the newspapers do, and that's what they should have to do. And going back to the Smith-Mundt Act, right? That should be renamed. That should be reformed. And the other part you talked earlier about the First Step Act. I talked to the president about something else, which is people that have committed felonies that have gone through the tenure. Maybe it's the 10 years. The government should automatically expunge their records. They should automatically, if the government can tell me when I need a fucking driver's license, it should be able to tell me when I could expunge my record. I don't have a felony. I don't have that, but I know people who do. Very good people that want to recontribute to society, but they can't, because they have this big weight around their neck that says felon, and they're ostracized in certain social circles, and it's bullshit, because they've reformed. They've paid their debt to society, and they shouldn't have to carry that banner around with them anymore. And again, doesn't mean you should be automatically expunged, but I think the government should be able to provide you with an alert that says, because most felons today, it's over 60%, at least it was then, of felons who are eligible to expunge their records have no clue that they can expunge their records. And if they do, they don't know where to start. And
I do.
The government should be helping these people. Well, we're not. And they can't recontribute. They can't reacclimate to society. They're some of them are hopeless. And if they were to get some legal assistance or some guidance, they could do these things and get a new start on life.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
government should do that for them.
100%. If they could take away your freedom, they should be able to restore it.
Absolutely.
And
they should do it willfully and proactively.
It's funny that you said that, because, I got a speeding ticket. Well, you don't know this, but I got a speeding ticket in 1997 when I was 17. And I just get a notification, not notification, but a letter in the mail stating that this court I was a juvenile. The court is going to take it upon themselves. I didn't need to show up. They said, you can come if you want to. And then I just saw at a Vivek Ramaswamy event, at a fundraising event for him in Willoughby Hills. I run into him, or the magistrate actually that signed this letter, and I says, oh my God, I recognize your name, and are you from this court? And she goes, yeah. I said, I just got a letter stating that they're going to expunge this and seal this record, my speeding ticket from 1997. And she goes, oh yeah, we're automatically doing that now. So maybe, just maybe, it's going to be in the works. Maybe he listened to you. But those expungement clinics in Dayton, Cleveland, Toledo, Akron, they're all over most major cities, and all somebody has to do, and I've shared my experience on YouTube many a times, all you have to do is Google expungement clinic near me. If you have a nonviolent offense, there's some criteria that you cannot expunge. You can't, if it's felonies, one felony of the first degree, second degree, and third degrees, I believe. Maybe I think those, because those are violent felonies that include violence. Those can't be expunged. Sex offenses cannot be expunged. But if you have felonies 4s and felony 5s, like I did, you are eligible. You just, the criteria is also getting more mainstream as well, where it's not so stringent like it was before, where you have to wait that 10-year tenure. You don't have to anymore. It's like, if you can show the courts that you have led a life without crime, no open cases, and you haven't, you're not on probation or parole, you have to pay off all your restitution, you have to pay off your court fines and all this, that, and the other, you can get it done. And those expungement clinics, a lot of them will go into court. They do go into court for you. They file all the paperwork for you. I think this one that I used was Legal Works in Cleveland. It was like $50 per felony, and it was just a donation to their organization. I think I gave them more than they asked me for, because I was so grateful, because that had been on my record for a decade or more. So I was like, please, can you help me get rid of this? And, because if you want to go into something, a profession where you have to go into people's homes or whatever, or you want to go to school, do this or that with the schools, you can't, because you got those felonies. And they expunged my felony record for me. But, it was one of the greatest, most fulfilling feelings ever. And I felt so good about myself when I finally got that paperwork in the mail that said, all of your rights have been restored. Now these liberals on the internet are saying that I'm a fit because I post my beautiful firearms. And they said, oh, you're a felon in possession of a firearm. Because one lie, you throw it down the hill and it keeps building like a snowball or a pile of shit. That the lie is, right? So now these libs are like, oh, I'm going to call the cops on you. I'm going to go ahead. Please do. And let them know I said hi when you do. You know what I mean? It's so funny, though. It's like they believe anything. God, and this podcast completely turned into talking about what and how we can fix things going on. And I hope a lot of people pay attention to what you said, because it makes a lot of sense, JR. And I know you don't want to run for office again, but God, we
Never say
need...
never. Never say never.
Oh yeah.
There's
Well,
a lot
that's
of people. There's a lot of people who wanted me to do it, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just was talking with some people in the administration. They're a good friend of mine is running for the seat here. They just redid the district, and some good friends of mine are really trying to get me to run. I've already endorsed the guy that's running, but this district has become an R+7, and it's a 5-way primary, and I could win. I could win from that. I don't even have to campaign, and I would win. I know that sounds probably condescending, but
No, it doesn't.
I no intentions of it being that. Everybody knows me around here. How people know me everywhere. I have to live in a certain spot in Washington, D.C. because people recognize me. But I could effectively win the primary from my office. But I don't know. I don't know what I don't necessarily. I don't have the fire in me that I had before. That was taken out of me by being in the battle, because it's patriots. I'd say two things. Patriotism is a lonely game.
It really is.
It is. And the other part of it is that everybody loves you until you're of no use to them. And when you go out and you fight and you sacrifice everything and you get hit with a bunch of arrows, if I watch somebody do that, I'm inclined to go out and help them. And if they're willing to get back up and fight, and I'm going to stand with them while they fight, I'm not going to leave them behind. And, if the battle's won, I'm not going to claim victory,
Right.
And that's symptomatic of the Republican Party and how we operate. We are one of our downfalls is we're highly individualistic, and a lot of people are very self-absorbed. And I try to live my life outside of that. I don't. Professionally, I have a reputation of being a team builder and somebody that doesn't take the credit for things. I let my team get all the credit. And I think Washington, D.C. is allergic to people like me. I've had some of the greatest political minds in the country. Roger Stone, a great friend of mine.
I love Roger Stone.
Roger Stone has said multiple times, like, I remind him of President Trump, and I think that's why I was so drawn to the president, because of, his way. If I had his money, I would be doing a lot of different things differently, but I don't, and
Right.
so I have to pick my battles, because they, you saw the video. They illegally obtained my military records in July, the year of the election. They sat on it and built a story. In October, the week before military ballots came out, they ran that story. They had, effectively, they spent the equivalent of $50 million in a New York market in Northwest Ohio, which is the cheapest media market. I couldn't even go to the local, fucking Subway without seeing my face on TV carrying an AR-15 with, photoshopped, very high quality 3D animation of me in front of the Capitol, as if I, started the J6 stuff. They used every trick in the book to shame and defame me. And when Kevin McCarthy withdrew money from my campaign, it left me high and dry, because I didn't have money to go out and defend myself. And that was tough, going through that for 4 or 5 months, and then having to rebuild everything after you spend all of your personal money running for office. So I don't know if I'm willing to do that again, because I don't know if there's that level of appreciation for people that run for office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd hate to do it and have the party turn against me again, and then lose, and then, where I could do what I'm doing now, which is, working very hard to, get nuclear power back where it needs to be, and help with the administration and Trump's vision for energy, and, be a good friend to him and JD and whoever else, various members of Congress. But hey, JD's got a long run. He's going to be running in 2028.
Thank
We'll
God.
see.
Well, I hope so.
Maybe I'll help him in some form or fashion.
You need to.
We'll see.
You Ohio boys need to stick together. Seriously,
We do.
I would see it if you were to run again as some retribution, because you were wronged so badly that it is unfathomable how you continue. But I think that would be a retribution, like walk in with your head held high, wearing an American flag as a cape, like, fuck you,
Well,
just
here's how much the party hates me. Okay. So about a month ago, I went to the Capitol Hill Club in DC, and for business, with the owner of my company. And we were discussing with members of Congress, what we're doing in nuclear power, just so they're aware, because we were, hopeful that they were going to pass pro-nuclear legislation. And we're just giving them an update on what we're doing, because what we're doing is revolutionary, and when it comes to nuclear power, and specifically spent nuclear fuel. And so a staffer who works for the NRCC, which is the National Republican Congressional Committee, very high-level staffer, sees me and says, "Hey, JR, how you doing?" This whole fake ass, I like you shit.
sure.
Within minutes, I start getting text messages from other members of Congress saying, "Let's fucking go, let's go." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, the word is that you're running again." I'm like, "No." So it gets worse. Okay. So about, later in the day, we're on the calendar to talk with Speaker Johnson. Well, we're getting ready to go up, to get some lunch, and then we're going to go up to his office. And Speaker Johnson's Secret Service calls the owner of my company and says that, it might not be smart for me. They may not allow me to meet with the speaker, because I'm perceived as a physical threat to him because of things that I posted on Twitter in the past. And so I ended up talking to them, and I said, "Look, you guys know I have Speaker Johnson's phone number. We were texting just like 3 days ago, right? You realize that?" "Oh, well, you said this." I said, "Yeah, I know. I called him a pussy. I did. And then he called me, and we talked it out. Now we're okay." And I deleted the tweet. "Oh, well, we said, no, you have it because it's a screenshot from the staffer." So here's what happened. They thought that I was at the Capitol Hill Club asking members of Congress to endorse me. They then thought that I was going to the speaker to ask the speaker to endorse me. I was there to talk about nuclear power. I wasn't there to talk about politics. But that's how bad it is institutionalized to keep people like me. I was rated the #1 MAGA candidate in the country by Breitbart, Epic Times, Steve Bannon, all those guys, all the pundits. I've been on every show. I've been on Greg Kelly, Joey Pags, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon. I've done it all, and I was a regular on the War Room, you know. And so these people, these staffers that are there to maintain the institution, which is the establishment, right? They don't want people like me around. And you know, I ended up seeing the speaker and talking to him and everything. I told him what happened. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. And then we're leaving his office, and we get towards the elevator, you know, a little ways down the hall, and he comes around into the office. And mind you, his staff was like, "Mr. Speaker, we got to go. We got another appointment." We were in there for longer than we were supposed to be. And he's like, JR. And I turn around and he goes, "Come here, man. Take a selfie with me so people know that we're friends." So we take a selfie, and I post it on Twitter. And then, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to fuck it. His staffer messages me later and is like, "Can you please take that picture down?"
No.
Because I did because I don't want any drama. You know what I mean? Because I don't want it to affect, you know, the business, because, right, I'm not fighting for a congressional seat. People are reliant upon me to eat, you know, and feed their kids and stuff. So I got to think differently now, you know. I got to think like I used to think. So took the picture down, but and the speaker doesn't know that they asked me to do that. If he did, he'd be pissed. But
of course.
You know
what they
your
say,
thing,
though.
you got to pick your battles, you know.
Absolutely. But you know what they say, though. DC and politics, it's a club. And you and me, we ain't in it for a reason, right?
I don't want to be in it. I don't want keys to the fucking gate. I want to break down the fence.
Absolutely. I want to play a couple more videos. This is some insightful stuff here, JR. This is some insightful stuff. We're getting into his teeth now.
Is this the one where he's spraying all over the camera?
It's like if you believe Jolly Good Ginger, then you're about as dense as his population of teeth. I don't know if that's the one you're referring to.
I don't know. I've done so many.
You really have. He's just given up. You know that bad bunny or funny bunny chick that was stalking the older millennial?
Mm-hmm. She went after me too. She switched from Joe.
She got me now, but she blocked me, so I can't view.
Yeah, that's her trick. She blocks you, and then she looks at your profile from another profile, and she clips your videos. She's weird. She's like weirdly bipolar or something.
Oh, I'm friends with Sarah Fields. Sarah's censored. I'm friends with her, and I get any information on this chick, and I'm friends with Joe, the older millennial. Mm-hmm. It's like you do realize that I can find anything and anything, and before it was like within 5 minutes of knowing that she posted several videos about me or a video threatening me or something. Before my phone was even put down, I had her name and all sorts of shit on her. It was like, what the fuck? Bunnies should not live in glass houses.
Right. I had people sending me her entire background report and everything. Like, I just ignore. I made 1 or 2 videos about her, and then I ignored her, because some people just aren't worth. They're not worth the attention that they desire.
No, they're really not. It's like, dude, come on. Like, seriously, stop it. I don't understand why she is the way she is, but I think her life is such a damn mess. She has to always focus on somebody else.
Yeah. That's a
fact. All right, here we go. Jolly ginger. What do we call him? Jolly Good Gingivitis.
Page because of the video Jolly Good Ginger made.
Damn it.
So if you're coming to my TikTok page because of the video Jolly Good Ginger made, yeah, cool. You know, I ran for office and I was lied about. That's been proven. Yeah, the military apologized to me.
These are friends of mine. JR was a hero and is a hero, and they hit him very hard with false stuff that he wasn't a hero. And after the election, they found out he was.
Has confirmed that the Air Force
recently breaks my heart.
I go through every one of the accusations made, and I show the proof.
Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal.
They gave me the medal for serving,
that I didn't have because it wasn't created until a couple of years after I got out of the service. It's all in the news. You just have to Google harder than the Democratic smear pieces and propagandist machines like Politico, who work
Ouch.
for
Yes.
that party. If you do that, you'll find that, yeah, I was in the Afghanistan and the Middle East before most of these people that have something to say were even there. You know, before Wi-Fi existed. Yeah, when cell phones were as big as a fucking Bible. Yeah,
Ugh.
back in those days. AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah. What do you know about that shit?
Yeah, that's the problem. I think a lot of people we grew up in a very different era
Hmm.
to where like we didn't have social media muscles like so many and a lot of people got comfortable talking smack behind a screen that they forgot that in the real world you get one of these, and that's
Yeah,
how we were brought up. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about with that
yeah,
and
and a
news
lot of
people today.
a lot of these people. So, for example, some of the Republicans, like the guys that were in combat and stuff like that, like when the story came out, they were highly offended, and a lot of it has to do with just the way the military treated them. And so these people that like were in like infantry frontline combat, you know, the left tried to say that that's what I said that I was. I've never said that. I'm not the kind of guy that this isn't an affront on veterans that were frontline combat soldiers, right? But I'm not some meek little man that has to pretend that I was John Rambo to feel good about myself, right?
Right.
Democrats don't come up to me in the street and say, "Hey, punk," because they'll find out what it feels like to be upside down. And some guys have to do that. I've never had to do that. I've always been a humble guy and been confident in who I am. And so when the story came out, they immediately, oh, he was this, he did this, he did that, he did this. And the same thing happened when J.D. Vance was running, for Senate. He was running against in the primary, and I don't know if you knew Josh Mandel, right? But
Yep.
him and
Sure
Josh Mandel
do.
got so Josh Mandel is a friend of mine, and so is
Mhm.
J.D. And
Mhm.
Josh and J.D. got into a fight because Josh said, you were you were a journalist in the military. It doesn't fucking matter what
So
you were
what?
in the military, dude.
Right.
90% of Americans couldn't pass boot camp. So you served, right? It doesn't matter. I wasn't a journalist, but I also never claimed to be running around kicking doors in. So, the Democrats tried to portray that's what I was, and they tried to portray that that's what I said that I was to get all of the base that would normally vote for me, and they didn't
Right.
believe it at first. They didn't believe it. It wasn't until, which is very weird. I said this before with McCarthy, when they ran polling after the military story came out, like Jimmy Kimmel did a fucking skit about me, okay? Like the day it came out. So this was coordinated, right? The same reporter that said that Trump hates veterans and all the other stuff, he's
Oh,
the
the
one that did
suckers
this
and
piece.
losers.
Yeah. He's been fired from the AP since then, but um, this was a coordinated thing, and I was so when they ran polling after the story came out, I was still up by 3 points. So what happened? Kevin McCarthy went public and said the Republican Party is defunding Majewski's campaign, and they took out the money that when he said that, the Republicans, the moderate Republicans who vote Republican just to vote Republican, not necessarily anti-Trump but not really pro-Trump, right? Just
Mhm.
Republican. That's when they turned on me, and that's what cost me the election. So it wasn't the liberals lying about me; it was McCarthy, and the thing is, I used to have. So it's very weird, right? It's a long story to explain it, but when at certain points, as you graduate, I guess, in your relationship with the president, you become more and more available. He becomes more and more available to you, right? So when you're a candidate, depending on your relationship with him, you always have an intermediate, right? So for the longest time, it was Pam Bondi. So if I need anything from the president, I would text Pam, and then she would get to right away, clockwork, boom, 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 boom. When I won my primary election, then Kevin McCarthy, he intervened, and I vividly remember this conversation. It was in Dallas, Texas, at the fucking Sheraton Hotel, Houston, at the Sheraton Hotel. He said to the president, he's like, "Hey, Mr. President, since I'm with JR, he's going to win. He's like, I'll help. He can, if he needs anything from me, he can start coming through me, and Pam doesn't have to worry about it anymore. I'll take care of it." And Pam was on the phone. She's like, "Yeah, no problem." And so when McCarthy took the, defunding my campaign, I didn't have the ability to tell on him because he was my in-between, right? So what I had to do was I had to call Greg Kelly from Newsmax, and Greg Kelly told the president.
Love
But
Greg Kelly.
but by the time so the president gets fucking pissed. He tells McCarthy, asks McCarthy, well, what the fuck are you doing? McCarthy's like, it's a pack. I have no knowledge. It's illegal for me. Blah blah blah. So I still have this voicemail on my phone right now. I have it where McCarthy calls me, leaves it because I didn't answer the call. He's like, JR, cavalry's coming back. Just heard from the president. You're gonna win. We're coming. The cavalry's coming, buddy. Hang in there.
Oh,
What did he do?
snake.
He didn't do shit. He didn't fund my campaign. He waited it out. And the president had so much going on with JD, all these other candidates across the country. I didn't have the access to call him like I do now, and tell him, like, you know what, this motherfucker, And so had I had that ability, I would have done that. But at that time, I didn't know any better. You know what I mean? I thought,
Right.
and Kevin McCarthy what he did, he cut a deal with the Democrat that I was running against. She's the longest standing term member of Congress in our nation's history, Marcy Kaptur. She's been in office for 42 years. She's the chairwoman of the Ukrainian caucus. When McCarthy was running for Speaker of the House, I believe it was round 16, she went to MSNBC and said, I'm considering forming a Democratic caucus to vote for McCarthy for Speaker of the House because we need to get Congress back to work. In 40 some years, she's never crossed the aisle. She did that publicly. You know why she did that? Because she cut a deal with McCarthy. Because if McCarthy was going to defund my campaign, he needed her to commit that she would vote for him if he needed her vote. And she made that commitment. So it's not about winning the majority. It's not about it's
Right.
about him being Speaker of the House. It's about them having personal, a personal objective to power. That's what it was all about.
Oh, they are a pack, man. They are like, they have loyalty amongst, there's loyalty amongst thieves, right?
Damn right.
So here's the jolly good ginger. He's looking for crime in DC after the National Guard showed up. And would you know, he doesn't find any. Like, remember I said earlier that I was in DC before the National Guard?
Mhm.
I pulled in, where you pull in through, have to go through Maryland and all this, that, and the
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
You go through that divided like treeway, coming from Ohio, right? I drove down and literally I pull in to DC right there where the sign says welcome to Washington DC. There's two crackheads fighting. My son is with me, 7-year-old. He goes, Mommy, what are they doing? I said, they're fighting over crack. That's what they're doing. What's crack? It's drugs, baby. It's drugs.
Right.
Oh God, it was terrible, man. I felt like, oh shit. And I didn't know the area. I thought I was going to be in like Georgetown there and by the National Mall, but no, I was in the hood where the cops have to keep their lights on because the DC mayor is a stupid Muriel Bowser. And she literally makes these cops sitting ducks because they have no element of surprise whatsoever. It's ridiculous. All right, let's see this little clown. Stupid clown. That's what he is.
There's still no for feds. I'm down DC on
All right.
So I am downtown DC on our second lap. I'm looking for feds. There's still no Fed presence. And as far as crime goes, zero fucking crime.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time.
Trump has reduced crime in D.C. by like 70%. At least we know the city's safe now. Jolly Green Ginger's on the job.
Tell him your name. Okay, I don't have one yet. But I'm leaning towards Brother Man. Is someone behind me? What's the joke?
How about Shithead Man?
That's where Jolly Good Ginger's been hanging out.
Oh no,
for
he
the past
peed.
couple weeks.
Spitting
Yes.
everywhere.
Right here in these puddles of water.
Oh, he's lisping.
I saw
Oh.
these over on K Street and 4th or 5th. With ice, steakhouse.
Oh.
You're having a great Sunday.
So I am.
That's some funny shit. You know, it's funny that I took my kid down. We went to the Smithsonian. We went to the Air and Space Museum. We did all sorts of the Natural History Museum. We did a tour, right?
Mhm.
And we're right there in downtown. And I found an awesome coffee shop named Greg's Coffee Shop. I think it's called Greg's downtown. Gregory's Coffee. I think that's what it is. They have one of the best iced coffees I have ever had in my entire life. Well, before he brought in the National Guard, even in the National Mall, even downtown right there, where the Capitol building is, no matter, they were people, all migrants, illegal
Mhm.
aliens selling counterfeit goods right there by the Washington Monument, by the National Mall there, right? And there was some kind of weird furry, like some kind of something going on where it's like undocumented people need Medicaid and da da da, and we free healthcare and blah blah blah, socialism shit. And like they had some drag queen up on the stage. They had 13 people in the crowd and whatnots, but every corner that we rounded, all you smell was pot smoke.
Oh yeah.
And I'm over here, and there was trash everywhere. And I mean everywhere. This is a beautiful, like we're talking blocks on Pennsylvania Avenue, right? We're talking blocks, right? And I'm over here like, what the hell? And my 7-year-old is like, Mom, and my sister's a big old pothead. So he goes, Mom, that smells like TT's house. And I said, yeah, honey, that definitely smells like TT's house. And I don't want to tell him like it's pot or explain to him. He's 7. He
Right.
don't know none of that shit. So I'm glad he brought in, because when I got an Airbnb, it wasn't in the nicest of areas. And I'm glad that those people feel safe now. And I don't know how anybody on the left, I don't know how they protested keeping cities or the inner cities safer when they're not protesting in the inner cities. They're protesting in the tourist spots in like Lincoln Park. They're not going to O Block in Chicago. They're not going to the hood of DC. They're staying right
Right.
there where it's a heavily, Secret Service is all over the place. Because I took my kid to the White House. We got to tour the White House, and he was like, oh my God, he was giving them people a run for their money. Those Secret Service agents, I'm over here like this because he's so full of energy. My head's on my hand like this. Oh my God, my kid. He goes up in, and it was right before we walked into the dining hall, the great dining ball. I don't know if he's making this the ballroom or not. I'm not sure. But this kid I think it was in the green room, one of the green rooms. He jumps the rope and looks up the fireplace, and he's like, hey Mom, do you think Santa comes to the White House? And Secret Service, I'm standing there mortified like, we're gonna go to jail, but like
They
the
probably thought it
Secret
was
Service,
hilarious.
they really did. They were really grateful or gracious, and I was grateful that they were so gracious and tolerant of my very rambunctious little guy. But it was so funny. Like I'm watching him jump the velvet ropes and touch the wallpapers and where the Christmas tree is at every year. I think it was the red room, but oh my God. And the Secret Service man is like, don't touch. And he's like, he's one of those kids that you say,
Yeah.
don't do it. And he's like,
He's gonna do it.
he's
Yeah.
just saying, right? Oh my God.
Raising him right. Be
Yeah.
ungovernable.
Yes, that's right. We like small government over here in this neck of the woods. I got the Modelo video.
I
where
just sent
he's,
you a better one actually.
did you? Where'd you
You can
send it
check
at?
to your TikTok.
Okay, let me see.
This is my favorite, the best one I ever did.
Who's the author of this not?
Oh my God, I love that guy. Mashed Potato Bandit. That dude's fucking hilarious. Let me copy it. Let me email it to myself real quick. But this one is like, the Mexicans love me. They invited me in to buy some cervezas, and like,
yeah.
Dude is lit, man. He's like 3 sheets to the wind. His eyes, you can tell he's like drunk to the point where one eye goes this way, one eye goes that way. Like he can see you from around a corner. Yeah, this one, I'll play this
He
while
can bite you from around the corner too.
Dude, man, look, man, he would be the only reason if he ever bit me why I would have to go in for a tetanus shot, because like, ugh, that is some major bacteria like that. I don't. You know what a Komodo dragon is?
Oh yeah, you have to cauterize your wound in that one.
Right. Whose celebrity husband got bit by a Komodo dragon? God, I forget. Somebody like one of their husbands or something got bit by a Komodo dragon, and like his whole like stardom just went to shit. I don't
Really?
remember. Yeah, I'll Google it here in a second, but I want to show everybody how drunk this guy is, man. Like, oh my, I've never been this drunk in my don't intend on it either.
And I don't see.
Have you seen the video of a drunk Jolly Good Ginger crying on the internet? Well, you're about to.
I don't understand how people don't see that.
I don't know when this video was posted. It was actually sent to me. But isn't this kind of what we all expect is going on when the cameras are turned off? This guy is actually wallowing in his tears. I wonder how embarrassed he must be when he wakes up the next day after alcoholic escapades at night.
Oh, God.
Filming himself all the while on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, X, and posting it for the world to see. I wonder how that feels. I wouldn't know, but I'm sure he does. It's got to be tolling. So I hope the money that he's getting to do all this is worth it, but I don't think there's enough Modelo in the world for me to embarrass myself like this publicly. Even grown men cry.
And was like, hey, we love you. Will you come in? Yeah, I'll come in and have a Modelo. The point I want to get
How
across.
racist.
He's such a.
The beauty of this.
Oh my God.
The beauty of this country is our diversity.
Oh boy.
He's such a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, the beauty of it is, does he believe in diversity of opinion though, or no? Just
No.
he's such a-
Diversity of alcohol. That's all he believes in.
And he's like, look it, I support Mexicans. I drink Modelo. Modelo is not. It's made
Probably
in America.
brewed in fucking Texas.
Right.
my
Oh God, man, that's terrible. That is so embarrassing. Sorry, not sorry, but like, how I would not be able to make that video. I would be mortified. I would be embarrassed. I would be like putting my head in the sand. I would be everything. I would just. I don't even know. Can you hear me? Did my sound go out?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. All right. Yeah.
My AirPods died, so.
Oh, that's what it is. All right. So I found it. Jolly Good Ginger suffers from main character syndrome. Oh my God. I have to share this tab instead. I'm getting better at this thing called podcasting. I haven't podcasted in a long time. I'll tell you why, but I'm not going to share it because I like to wait until I'm all completed and all that to share it with other people. All right. Let's see this roast. Oh, son of a biscuit.
Good Ginger suffers from, what is it, main character syndrome? Yeah, in his mind. Do you realize that Jolly Good Ginger suffers from, what is it, main character syndrome? Yeah, in his mind. It's him against Donald Trump.
So let's get down to real business talk, Ric Flair. Let's get down to dollars and cents. You dealing money. You wearing them seersucker suits.
He's like Dusty Rhodes back in the 80s. And Trump is like Ric Flair.
Come on, big man. I'm begging you. Lay a hand on me. You're clear. He's double A. He's the enforcer. And I'm the nature boy.
Listen really close.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson.
I guess if he's like Ric Flair, then I'm kind of like Arn Anderson.
Oh,
The
no.
whole world thought JR was dead.
I know. We all love Dusty Rhodes. We do. But I have to do this. It's too great to not do this.
Oh my God.
You guys do.
You know what
realize
would be
that
fun?
Jolly
You know what
Good
that was hilarious. You know, remember that Gold Dust character, that really weird one that would
Yeah,
like
that was his kid.
Yeah.
That was Dusty Rhodes' kid.
Yeah, and so is the other kid, the young kid, Dustin Rhodes
Yeah.
is Dusty Rhodes' kid. Like they're a long line of professional wrestling, that's all lie anyway too.
I've got so many now of, if you look on my profile, I've got like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different videos where I do Dusty or Jolly Good Ginger as Dusty Rhodes. It's funny.
That's hysterical. But like that Modelo video, holy crap.
There's another one I got. I got a couple of them like where
And
oh, sorry.
I've bartended for many years, and I have proudly never served somebody that much to where they were that shit face annihilated.
Well, he's a celebrity, so
Yeah, he's a celebrity, all right, in his own right,
right.
his own world. Modelo. Oh yeah, yeah. Hi, Kat. That's my friend Kat. Hi, Kat. We got Kat in the house. Did you send me another one on TikTok? Oh, Joey
Oh, no.
Pegs sent me a message. I love Joe Pegs. Man,
One of my best interviews I ever did was on his show.
I love him.
He's a good guy. I like him a lot.
He really is. Did you send it to me in TikTok?
No, I don't even know if it's on. I think my Joey Pegs interview.
No, the other video.
Oh no, I didn't send you anymore.
I'm gonna roast Harry Sisson though, because I'm just gonna call it now. You fucking won. I'm not allowed to say what I want to Harry Sisson, and I don't have that je ne sais quoi like you do, to where you could say F you without saying F you as much. Me, man, I just say what's on my mind and get banned one too many times.
Well, it's a product of being banned so much that I've learned how to do this.
Yeah, you have to. It's like a learning experience, a learning curve. Yeah, here's this one with my girl Mega Meg. Have you watched her videos?
Oh yeah.
She's so funny with that damn Trump fly swatter. Here, this is funny. And then I have to take a break real quick. I'm going to let you talk to the people in the comments, maybe, if I can sneak away after this one.
I have to wrap up soon because I gotta.
But you're literally pink. This is Harry Sisson before he comes on TikTok. MAGA, Trump, MAGA, Trump. Breaking news. Hey, Harry, do you do this every time you make a TikTok? I know you do. That's Harry. MAGA, Tucker Carlson, Fox News, Soros money, Democrat show money, chorus money. Harry is in a perpetual state of prepubescence. That's why he's always in his mommy's makeup. That was my one and only roast of Harry Sisson. I have many more on my TikTok. Please go view it before it gets banned again. I'm on the verge. I got one foot on the grave and one on a banana peel when it comes to TikTok. No, you know what? I'll let you get going. I think that we should definitely do this again. I think that if not though, I really appreciate it. I think you was a lot of fun, very informative. And I think if more people only listened, we got 2 ears from God and only one mouth for a reason, is because we're supposed to listen more than we talk. But what you say is of great value to saving this country. And like hell, I hope you run again. Oh, the retribution would be like, fuck yeah, and you have the endorsements of Vivek, you have the endorsements of Trump, of everybody,
It's we'll see. Like I said, it depends. There's a lot of balls up in the air, and it's a big decision to run for office, especially having to get. That's why, like, you'll hear people say, oh, we should do term limits. I already talked about how that will never work. There's the other one. Well, we should make sure that members of Congress only make the median income of their district and stuff like that. that'll never attract people of high quality, high talent. I mean, I would have to take a 50-60% pay cut to go work in Congress, and I would do that. I would certainly do that. But
I don't know, man. That's kind of to have to rub shoulders with people like that.
well, I mean, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll make the sacrifice. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Well, Trump lost $1 billion his first term, and he still donates his presidential salary. You know what I mean? But he's
he has reserve stock. You know what I mean?
right.
You know,
Look,
when I ran the first time, I spent, the money that I had was still, kind of up and coming in my career, and I wasn't always smart with money. So, and
yeah.
I've had the short period of 2 years, 3 years to rebuild, and I don't know if I just don't know if it's worth, because it's not only me, it's you have to worry about your family and your friends and things like that. So it's a big decision, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Uh, I hope you better keep me posted if you do, because man, it's we need people like you, and we need a lot more people like you to be wanting to even run for city council, for school board. It's if we don't fight this, if it's not radical leftist wokeisms, it's the Islamic terrorist state that we're gonna be fucked if we don't get good Americans in there that want
Yeah.
to maintain what our founding fathers built this country on. We are categorically fucked without the lube. So,
I agree.
JR, happy birthday and happy Veterans Day. I really appreciate you coming on. If
Thank
you
you.
want to follow JR, he's all over the place. Just I'll link and stuff. I'll put it on. I'll tag all of your stuff on my X page. So
Okay.
thanks so much, man. You're amazing.
Thank you. You're welcome, and I appreciate you.
All right, I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, you too, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
What a good, insightful podcast. I intended that to be just a roast fest. But I mean, we got our jabs in when we could. I do appreciate you guys showing up. I know I've been pretty inconsistent lately, but I've been having lots of things going on in my private life, to where I'm focusing a lot of attention on that. And I'm trying to see like the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm trying to do something to invest in my future, a whole different career path. I will still be doing my social media despite how some people feel about that. But hey, anyways, no, so that's what's been chewing up a lot of my time. I do have to focus a lot of time and energy on bettering my life and doing something. And if President Trump hadn't signed that First Step Act, which I'm glad JR brought up a couple of times, if he hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been able to close the door on my past. But a lot of you have been with me since the very beginning. You have seen me from having no job, losing my job during COVID, starting this reaction channel. It blows up. And then we start doing some Tom McDonald reactions and some NF reactions. And then that's who gave me courage to speak about what I dealt with in my past. It was NF. It was Tom McDonald. It was many of the artists that I featured early on in my YouTube game. Okay. And the YouTube path that I chose to go on. It were those people and you guys encouraging me to keep going. The subscriber count kept growing and kept growing. And that gave me the confidence to be more open and honest with you guys and have zero shame whatsoever. Do I have remorse about how I chose to live my life? Absolutely. But only way you show your remorse and that you're truly apologetic as if you change that type of behavior, because an apology without change is just manipulation, period. Dot. And so I was very open and honest about my struggles, that my recovery, very open book about that. So many of you from around the globe had messaged me. You inspired me, Jen. You inspired me to get sober, and I'm getting updates to this day, 5 years later. Jen, I've just got my 5 years, and you helped me want that sobriety because I got to see what you are achieving and how you're living your life and how happy you are, and I wanted that so bad. So you were so inspirational, and I always reminded everybody who said something like that to me because it makes me feel guilty, believe it or not, because I don't want to be, oh yeah, I took credit for that person's sobriety. No, I always corrected them. You did it. You made the decision. And I was open and honest about my prison stories. I've taken you guys back to prison with me, and there was, I think, 10,000 people on that live stream because I kind of clickbaited y'all. I did. I clickbaited the shit out of everybody and says I'm going back to prison. And so everybody was like, "What's happening?" Because it came out of nowhere. It actually I came up with the bright idea to visit Ohio Reformatory for women after the fact. I had just left my son in college in Cincinnati. So on the way back home from Cincinnati, I figured I should take a drive over here to the Ohio Reformatory for women to see how it's like looking. Because once I left that place in 2017, I ain't never looked back. And I brought you guys back with me. I've been open and honest about that. I've been open and honest about my addiction that lasted 8 years. And my sobriety is now 12 years. 12 years. It was actually 10 days ago that I had reached my 12-year mile mark. And I was open and honest about my felonies, my expungements, and all this, that, and the other. I was open and honest about what happened to me at Planet Fitness and what led me to not trust men in my bathrooms. I was open and honest with you guys when I went live in my bedroom the day before a school board meeting. And I was open and honest about my fight with the school board meeting in my community as well. Very open and honest about that. And so I was open and honest about how I felt about men in my bathroom. And I pointed to my taser behind me and I says, I carry, just so you know, don't fuck with this one. And somebody took that out of context and personalized it. Somebody I never met in my whole entire life called the police on me, and me and Rocky from Gays Against Groomers were preparing our speeches for the school board meeting that very day. And I get a phone call from the police department. Somebody called and said that you are going to kill trans kids. But I watched your whole video, Jen, and I'm here to say I'm on your side. And I'm also going to tell you that this woman, I said, who is she? Never heard of her. Well, she's got it out for you and she's going for blood. So you better watch yourself. And I was very open and honest. I went live from that school board meeting because, well, my microphone got cut. Oops. Freedom of speech. Yeah, right. Only if you're on the left, right? Because rules for thee, but not for me. And so I was very open and honest about being at that school board meeting. The mother was there. She says I'm a danger to her child. I remember her telling the police that, right? And her child just so happens to think he's a girl. Unfortunately, the mother fueled that mental illness and did not tell that kid the truth. And now he's all kinds of screwed up in the head. And so she leaves this meeting that I'm at and brings her kid and 2 others to come confront me. You know, the kid that she claimed with the police. Oh, she's a danger to my daughter. No, you have a son. She's a danger to my daughter. He's a boy. And she leaves the meeting I'm at. She brings a kid up there with 2 other minors, which if that were ever the case, if my kid was ever dragged to go confront a grown-ass adult, just for GP, I'm whooping that ass. If you ever do that if another parent does that with my kid. But I mean, hey, I guess people just let iPads raise their kids these days and social media to where boys are over here prancing around in fucking tutus. So anyways, this kid confronts me and I was very open and honest about it. And then a restraining order. Oh my God, a sheriff department. What? A restraining order because I confronted this woman? Wait, what? I won that case, by the way. I won that case. And I said what I said to hurt this kid because he was making fun of my appearance. But I mean, hey, oh fucking well. These people are such assholes. I'm an open fucking book. I've always been an open fucking book. And I won that case because my lawyer is not just some public defender. No, he's awesome. And he's a very good attorney. And so these people think that I'm a bullying this fucking kid. Everybody got to see what had happened. I had body camera footage. I actually had footage from the schools, right? I had all of that, and I won this court case because that mommy on the stand goes, my lawyer was brilliant. He says, so You never knew her before then. She's never talked about you. You've never met her in person. So, are you going to file a restraining order against anybody who criticizes your trans daughter? And she says yes. And so, case closed, case dismissed. Jen won. And so it was a big fucking mess. But now they're bringing it up, and they're bringing up my past. Like I ain't already said it all. Everything and anything that they're going to find is because I've already said it. Fucking shit. So anyways, you guys, thank you for joining me. I thank JR Majewski for joining me. You know what, man? Sometimes you guys, you got to you have to walk through the burning coals to get ahead in life. You do. And you got to burn your feet a little bit. But what matters most is you learn from your lessons. And I don't take no fucking shit from any of them people. I don't give a shit. My voice matters as much as theirs. Unfortunately, they lead with their emotions instead of their brains. All right, you guys, I love you very much. I have to pee so fucking bad that if I don't get off this right here, right now, I'm gonna explode. I love you guys. I will see you soon. And thank you, mods. Thanks, Kat. Thank you, Veli. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. You are amazing, in case no one told you that. And you have a right to your own opinion. And you better stand on business and stand your ground. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Bye, y'all. Love you.